strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA, the show that gets you ahead of the rest. I'm Shivan Chandna.
And I'm Himkar, and on the show today, US President Donald Trump has condemned questions about Jeffrey Epstein, yes, yet again, as sort of a witch hunt against him before launching into a rant against the Democrats, especially his predecessor, Barack Obama. We'll be getting you the latest on this on the show today.
Also on World DNA, United States, Israel and Syria will convene a rare high-level meeting on the 24th of July to discuss new security arrangements in southern Syria. We'll bring you the latest on that. Let's start with the headlines.
It is essential to recognize that there are some fundamental principles which need to be universally respected. One of them is zero tolerance for terrorism.
India strongly responds to Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar's remarks on Kashmir and Indus Waters Treaty at the UNSC, calls out Islamabad's duplicity on issues of terrorism and international peace.
It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt.
Donald Trump dismisses the Epstein case as a witch hunt, as US Department of Justice is seeking to interview Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, amid continued scrutiny of Trump's handling of the case.
If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for
Donald Trump accuses Barack Obama of treason, calls for his prosecution over a report alleging that officials in the Democrats' administration manipulated information on Russia's interference in the 2016 election.
US President Trump announces a trade deal with Japan, including a 15% tariff on imports and $550 billion in Japanese investments in the US.
We have a lot of meetings possible. President Xi has invited me to China, and we'll probably be doing that in the not too distant future.
Donald Trump says he may visit China soon for a landmark trip, as he had been invited by President Xi Jinping, but added that he has been invited by a lot of people and will make those decisions soon.
United States says Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff will travel to Europe for talks on a ceasefire and finalizing an aid corridor for war-ravaged Gaza where authorities say people are dying of starvation.
Syria launches investigations into reported extrajudicial killings in Druze heartland, promising to punish perpetrators, including any government-affiliated personnel, after a week of sectarian bloodshed.
Ukrainian President Zelensky signs a bill revoking the autonomy of two anti-corruption agencies, a proposal that has sparked rare protests in Kiev and alarm among the country's international supporters.
England staged another dramatic comeback to reach Women's Euro final. The Lionesses edged Italy 2-1 in extra time to move closer to retaining their title. Now, the Israel Defense Forces are facing mounting international pressure amid allegations of exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
Gaza is where rampant starvation, severe food shortages and rising deaths have prompted the United Nations to sound the alarm. In a bid to dismiss their role in starvation, in a post on social media, the IDF spokesperson released a video claiming that 950 trucks worth of aid are waiting in Gaza for international organizations to pick up and distribute to civilians. It claimed that Israel facilitated the aid entry.
According to the Palestine Red Crescent Society, almost 101 people died because of starvation, including 80 children. In a heartbreaking case, a 6-week-old Palestinian infant boy died at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis due to malnutrition. His family said they were unable to feed him or provide him infant formula or diapers.
Children are dying from malnutrition. Infants as young as 1 or 2 months old are dying from malnutrition. The crossings are closed and there is no access to medicine, treatment or food. My son's condition reflects the suffering of the people of Gaza.
Palestinians in Gaza gathered along the Rashid Coastal Road, hoping to receive food from trucks possibly entering through the Zikim crossing. Instead, many returned empty-handed or didn't return at all.
You, the negotiator sitting in Qatar and Turkey, what are you negotiating about? People are dying in Gaza. We have no one left in Gaza. We are all dead. We go to die to bring food, and you sit in your chair, eating in Qatar.
With aid stocks having depleted, the Norwegian Refugee Council has slammed Israel for paralyzing their work. They claim their staff members are starving after 145 days of blocked deliveries, including food, water and sanitation supplies.
Our last food parcel, our last relief items have been distributed. There is nothing left. There is nothing left. It's now 145 days without any supplies. And of course, there's hundreds of truckloads just for my organizations waiting to get in. That's why we are so angry, because our job is to help women, children, the innocent survive.
In occupied West Bank's Jenin, several women took out a rally demanding an end to Gaza's starvation crisis.
In Tel Aviv, protesters took to the streets carrying flour and bags of flowers and pictures of malnourished children from Gaza, calling for the end of the war in Gaza and for an end to the hunger.
We came here today, both Jewish and Palestinian citizens of Israel, to protest against the dire humanitarian catastrophe in the Gaza Strip and against our government's policy of starvation.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has released a video that it says shows attacks on WHO facilities in the Gazan city of Deir al-Balah, who said the WHO said that the Israeli military attacked its staff residence and main warehouse in Deir al-Balah, compromising its operations in Gaza. And United States, Israel and Syria, they will convene a rare high-level meeting on the 24th of July.
This is to discuss new security arrangements in southern Syria, as per reports which also suggest that the meeting will be chaired by US-Syria envoy Tom Barrack, who has been mediating between the parties in recent weeks. While senior officials from Israel and Syria will also be attending the meeting. This will be the first meeting between Israel and Syria since the crisis erupted last week in the city of Sueda and Israeli strikes on Damascus that followed.
Meanwhile, US State Department on Tuesday confirmed the death of a US citizen last week in the predominantly Druze region of Sueda, where hundreds of people have been reported killed in clashes. Though State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said that US was providing consular assistance to the family, she did not give further details.
We can say, of course, that Secretary Rubio has emphasized the importance of prioritizing the safety and security of U.S. citizens. We can confirm the death of, and this is the Sueda region, what we're discussing, of Syria last week, of U.S. citizen Hossam Saraya. We offer condolences to the family on their loss. We are providing consular assistance to them, but in the midst of the further conversations, I can't give you any more details except what we've already discussed.
On Tuesday, the Syrian Defense Ministry said that it is aware of reports of shocking violations by people wearing military fatigues in the country's predominantly Druze city of Sueda. The Syrian Defense Minister vowed that there will be no tolerance to perpetrators, even if they were a member of the Defense Ministry.
A US-brokered ceasefire backed by Turkey and Jordan announced on Saturday appears to be holding so far as Syrian authorities continue to evacuate Bedouin and Christian families from the Druze majority city of Sueda. However, footage surfaced showing a group of armed men opening fire in the direction of a convoy evacuating civilians from Sueda on Tuesday as it passed through Tiara. Footage showed crowds of people surrounding Red Crescent buses carrying civilians and shots being fired in their direction.
Though ceasefire has brought temporary calm, the visuals coming from Sueda reveal the horrific aftermath of the bloodshed. Unaccounted body bags are lying piled up in hospitals. The president of Syrian Arab Red Crescent, Dr. Mohammed Hazem Bokleh, said that while demanding urgent humanitarian aid for the city, that the National Hospital in Sueda is facing severe shortage of supplies and a lack of medical staff.
We visited the National Hospital in the city of Sueda. The situation is bad. There is a severe shortage of supplies and a lack of medical staff. The infrastructure needs significant support at the National Hospital. In general, the markets were closed, and services are nearly at a standstill. Humanitarian intervention in the city is urgently needed.
And US President Donald Trump has condemned questions about Jeffrey Epstein, a sort of a witch hunt against him.
And this was before launching into a rant against the Democrats. Now, speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump said that the American citizens should instead look into allegations of corruption against his predecessor, Barack Obama, launching a series of accusations against Obama trying to steal the 2016 election when Trump defeated Hillary Clinton.
Obama's spokesperson called the claim outrageous, accusing Trump of engaging in a ridiculous and weak attempt at distraction.
The accusations delivered in the Oval Office followed a surprise announcement that Trump's Department of Justice would question an imprisoned key former assistant to Epstein.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said in a statement on X that Ghislaine Maxwell, serving a 20-year sentence for her role in Epstein's alleged pedophile scheme, would be required for new information.
When asked about Blanche's announcement, Trump said he did not know about it, adding, however, that it would be appropriate.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
House Speaker Mike Johnson said there's no light between the White House and House of Representatives over the release of documents related to the Epstein case.
As I've said many times, there's no daylight between the White House and the House. You have to allow the legislation to ripen, and you also have to allow the administration the space to do what it is doing. The president has said clearly, and he has now ordered his DOJ to do what it is we've all needed DOJ to do for years now, and that is to get everything released. So they're in the process of that. There's no purpose for Congress to push an administration to do something that they're already doing.
Mike Johnson, a key Trump Republican loyalist, said that he would shut down the House of Representatives until September, adding that if this was to be avoided, what he called political games over attempts by Democrats to force votes on exposing more about the Epstein case.
Now, what we refuse to do is participate in another one of the Democrats' political games. This is a serious matter. We are not going to let them use this as a political battering ram.
And for more details on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Listen to this.
Facing bipartisan pressure to release Jeffrey Epstein, Speaker Mike Johnson abruptly sent Congress into recess a day early, avoiding scheduled votes on disclosure. Democrats accused Republicans of dodging accountability, while GOP leaders said the DOJ is already handling it. Johnson defended the move, warning that rushing document releases could re-traumatize victims and called for patience. Meanwhile, the House Oversight Subcommittee approved a subpoena for Ghislaine Maxwell. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche confirmed that he will meet with her soon as court proceedings push the DOJ to submit grand jury transcripts for potential unsealing. No vote will occur until September, when Congress returns to work. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Donald Trump has accused his predecessor Barack Obama of treason and called for his prosecution over a report alleging that officials in the Democrats' administration manipulated information on Russia's interference in the 2016 election.
It's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level.
Now, speaking to reporters in the Oval Office during a meeting with Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., Trump listed Obama, Hillary Clinton, former FBI Director James Comey, former Director of National Intelligence John Brennan, and others who accused of plotting against him and attempting to rig the election.
Trump's latest remarks were dismissed by his opponents as an attempt to shift focus away from the mushrooming crisis around the administration's failure to release files connected to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Patrick Rodenbush, a spokesperson for Obama, said these bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction.
Now, this is not the first time Donald Trump has gone after Barack Obama. It's a feud that spans years and has only grown more public and provocative.
Recently, the White House shared a post on social media featuring a striking image of President Trump with the caption, "I was the hunted, now I am the hunter." Now, this post hammered home the point with "they came after the wrong man," quote unquote.
Adding more fuel to this feud, Trump posted a controversial video on his Truth Social platform. This clip shows a digitally altered scene, FBI agents handcuffing Barack Obama inside the Oval Office, while Trump stands by smiling. The video then ends with Obama behind bars in an orange prison jumpsuit.
And talking about Russia's role in 2016 elections, the alleged role, Russia's broad interference has been established through a series of investigations, including Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation and a thorough 2020 Senate Intelligence Committee report that was completed when the panel was led by Republican Senator Marco Rubio, who's now Trump's Secretary of State.
And as the Russia-Ukraine war drags on and Moscow gains new ground, Europe is leaving no chance to step up its defenses.
For the first time in 17 years, the US has stationed nuclear weapons in Britain that can be carried by its new F-35A fighter jets. According to reports, an American C-17 transport aircraft undertook a 10-hour flight from Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico to RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk to deliver B-61 nuclear bombs. The RAF base, Royal Air Force, is home to Air Force units and military personnel in the UK.
Now, the deployment of US nukes on British soil is being seen as the biggest expansion of the UK's nuclear deterrence since the end of the Cold War. Britain has bought a new squadron of 12 F-35A jets from the US, which can be deployed with US B-61 nuclear bombs in the event of a crisis.
The deployment is a shot in the arm for NATO, whose nuclear deterrence relies massively on the US. It has deployed several hundred warheads in countries across Europe, primarily at locations in Germany, Italy, Belgium, Turkey, and the Netherlands, to serve as a deterrent for the continent.
Kremlin reacted to reports of deployment of the US nukes, with spokesman Dmitry Peskov calling it an escalation of tensions.
What has also roiled Moscow are reports of Germany considering to buy Typhoon missile systems from the US. If this deal goes through, Germany would become the first European country to purchase the land-based missile launcher from the US. The Typhoon missile system will enable Berlin to field Tomahawk cruise missiles and SM-6 naval interceptors from land platforms, significantly boosting NATO's strike capabilities in Europe. And Saudi Arabia is in the midst of positioning itself as a global powerhouse in esports.
With major tournaments, purpose-built gaming venues and strong government backing driving the industry's momentum, it is hosting the Esports World Cup in Riyadh, drawing packed crowds and passionate fans.
Of course, marked by thrilling Dota 2 final between Team Spirit and Team Falcons. Organizers of the event are hailing the government backing and the elaborate gaming strategy that are fueling this momentum in the country.
There's a huge amount of passion. Everybody pretty much plays games, but there's also huge support from the government. We have a national gaming and esports strategy, which is one of the pillars of Vision 2030. So really diversifying GDP. And when you couple that with a very motivated government and an incredibly passionate population as well, it makes perfect sense.
Now in its second year, the Esports World Cup in Riyadh has attracted more than 2,000 players from 84 countries. Running through August 24th, the tournament features a massive $70 million prize pool and features popular titles such as Rensport, Valorant. Local gamers say the impact is being felt across the community.
Esports and gaming are central to Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, the Crown Prince's sweeping reform plan to diversify the economy beyond oil. And as part of this strategy, the government is investing heavily to turn the kingdom into a global gaming hub. In 2022, Savvy Games Group, backed by the Public Investment Fund, committed 142 billion riyals, that's $37.8 billion to this sector. The goal is now to establish 250 gaming companies, create some 39,000 jobs and boost gaming's contribution to GDP by 50 billion riyals by the end of the decade.
Now, dogs are known for their superior sense of smell. They're also known to be aware of forthcoming dangers. And now it appears that trained dogs can sniff out Parkinson's disease years before symptoms appear.
This next story will bring you more details on this interesting research that shows how dogs can detect this disease with up to 98% accuracy. Take a look.
In the battle against the Parkinson's, we have a new ally, man's best friend. Forget MRIs and blood tests, golden retrievers and Labradors are now sniffing out the disease in human scent. Two dogs, Bumper and Peanut, trained by medical detection dogs along with the universities of Bristol and Manchester, have demonstrated an uncanny ability to distinguish the oily skin secretions of Parkinson's patients from those without the disease. The dogs achieved up to 80% sensitivity, accurately identifying those with Parkinson's, and a staggering 98% specificity, correctly ruling out those who do not have it. Parkinson's often lies dormant for decades before motor symptoms appear. Early intervention can significantly slow its relentless progression, yet diagnostic tools remain primitive. Now these canine heroes are able to flag an invisible threat much earlier. Earlier research has already proven dogs can accurately detect other major diseases, including various forms of cancer, diabetes, and even impending migraines. Clearly a new horizon, if opening up for medical science. Thanks to our canine friends, they are truly a man's best friend.
And with that, it's time now for a short break.
Don't go anywhere. This is World DNA. When we come back, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to begin a two-nation tour that is going to start today. He will be visiting United Kingdom and the Maldives. We'll bring you all the details of the trip.
US President Donald Trump has announced a new trade deal with Japan. The deal includes 15% tariff on Japanese auto imports, down from the current 25%. We'll get you the details on the other side. Stay tuned.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Vielleicht nur als 5%
Welcome back to World DNA. Thank you so much for staying with us. Lots lined up for you on this side of the show as well. Let's get started with the headlines first.
More than 100 aid organizations warn of mass starvation spreading in Gaza ahead of the US top envoy's visit to Europe for talks on possible truce and an aid corridor. Israel denies famine claims, saying aid is entering the strip but not being distributed.
It is essential to recognize that there are some fundamental principles which need to be universally respected. One of them is zero tolerance for terrorism.
India strongly responds to Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar's remarks on Kashmir and the Indus Waters Treaty at the UNSC. Calls out Islamabad's duplicity on issues of terrorism and international peace.
It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt.
Donald Trump dismisses the Epstein case as a witch hunt, as US Department of Justice is seeking to interview Epstein's accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, and this is amid continued scrutiny of Trump's handling of the Epstein case.
If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that
Donald Trump accuses Barack Obama of treason and calls for his prosecution over a report alleging that officials in Democrats' administration manipulated information on Russia's interference in the 2016 election.
Trump announced a finalized trade deal with the Philippines after meeting President Marcos Jr. at the White House, marking another key agreement in the region amid rising tariffs and tensions with China.
we have a lot of meetings possible. President Xi has invited me to China, and we'll probably be doing that in the not too distant future.
Donald Trump says he may visit China soon for a landmark trip, as he had been invited by President Xi Jinping, but added that he has been invited by a lot of people and will make those decisions soon.
Syria launches investigations into reported extrajudicial killings in Druze heartland, promising to punish perpetrators, including any government-affiliated personnel, after a week of sectarian bloodshed.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signs a bill revoking the autonomy of two anti-corruption agencies, a proposal that has sparked rare protests in Kyiv and alarm among the country's international supporters.
England stage another dramatic comeback to reach the women's Euro final. The Lionesses edge Italy 2-1 in extra time to move closer to retaining their title. And in a move to deepen India's global outreach, Prime Minister Modi is set to begin a two-nation tour today.
He will be visiting the United Kingdom and the Maldives. The visit comes at a time New Delhi is focusing on strategic alignment and renewed global partnerships.
Now, at the invitation of UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Modi will be in London from July 23rd to 24th. Prime Minister's fourth visit to the UK aims to boost the India-UK comprehensive strategic partnership focusing on trade, defence, technology, education and climate action. Building on the ambitious roadmap laid out in May 2021, the visit will review progress and chart new areas of cooperation. Discussions are expected to advance the India-UK Free Trade Agreement, enhancing bilateral trade and economic ties.
Shortly after Keir Starmer assumed office, both the leaders spoke to each other on the phone. During that call, they announced the conclusion of the India-UK Free Trade Agreement, bolstering economic ties between both the countries.
Now, the two leaders earlier met on the sidelines of the G20 in Brazil last year and briefly interacted again during the G7 summit in Canada in June earlier. During the recent times, bilateral diplomacy between the two nations has been on an upward trajectory.
After the Pahalgam terror attack in April this year, Prime Minister Starmer was one of the first leaders to reach out to Prime Minister Modi to convey solidarity and support.
After his UK visit, Prime Minister Modi will head to the Maldives on the 25th of July, where he is expected to engage in high-level talks to strengthen India's neighbourhood-first policy and maritime diplomacy. Briefing the media on Prime Minister Modi's visit, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri stated that India has expressed concerns to the UK about Khalistani extremists and related groups, highlighting the issue as a matter of concern for India.
With regard to the issue of the presence of Khalistani extremists and bodies close to these people is again something that we have brought to the attention of our partners in the UK. We will continue to do so. This is a matter of concern not only to us, but it should be a matter of concern to our partners as well, because this impacts social cohesion and social order in these other countries as well.
Now, in a move to deepen India's global outreach, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to begin a two-nation tour today. He will be visiting United Kingdom and the Maldives, and this visit comes at a time when New Delhi is focusing on strategic alignment and renewed global partnerships. At the invitation of UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Prime Minister Modi will be in London from the 23rd to the 24th of July before he heads to the Maldives. Now, for more on this, joining us on our broadcast is our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibal. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, two strategic visits upcoming for the Indian Prime Minister. What can you tell us about the significance of these?
Well, a very significant visit of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to UK and Maldives. In UK, the key focus remains on the signing of the FTA. In fact, this is the fourth visit of the Indian Prime Minister to UK since 2014, and the third time, in fact, that both the leaders, Indian Prime Minister and the UK Prime Minister, will be meeting the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. We know that both leaders have met so far twice, last being on the sidelines of the G7 summit. UK, of course, is an important partner of India with security, trade, but of course there are certain irritants. We know that yesterday the Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said that this is something that is a concern for India, and it is expected that the matter is going to be raised. In the past, we have seen how Khalistani elements in Pakistani diaspora, which has been involved in a lot of crimes in UK itself, has been involved in the vandalization of the Indian mission, and this is something that India raised in the past as well. Moving on to Maldives, a close partner, in fact, a major diplomatic turnaround in last 1 year. that last year we saw how there was this fall in the relationship. But since then, both sides, through concerted and quiet diplomacy, have been able to bring the relationship back on the track. We know that this visit comes at a time when Maldives is celebrating the 60th anniversary of its independence. In fact, the Prime Minister will be the guest of honor. And of course, the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relationship. Infrastructure projects, the capacity building remains the key focus areas. Expect announcements on that, but also as to how both countries can work together to make sure that the Indian Ocean is a zone of peace, it's a stable area.
Siddhant, for getting us the latest on that. Of course, both of these are going to be extremely important visits for India, and we will be tracking all the developments as they come in. And ahead of the Indian Prime Minister's visit to Maldives, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has said that Mali and New Delhi are discussing a free trade agreement and an investment treaty.
Now, during an interaction with the press, Misri told reporters that the two countries were also discussing new areas of cooperation, including in renewable energy and fisheries.
On the economic front, one recent development which I would like to share with you is that both countries are in discussions to negotiate a free trade agreement and an investment treaty as well. And new areas of cooperation, including renewable energy, fisheries, etc., are also being worked on.
Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to visit Maldives on the 25th of July, where he will be the guest of honor at Maldives' 60th Independence Day celebrations. And this would be Modi's first visit since President Moizu came to power in November of 2023. Now, the two leaders will review the progress on the joint vision for a comprehensive economic and maritime security partnership adopted during Moizu's visit to India in October last year.
Maldives-India relations were hurt after Moizu won power in April and demanded New Delhi replace 80 defence personnel that it had stationed on the Maldives with civilians as part of his India Out campaign. But the relationship has been on the mend following diplomatic talks and meetings since. Now, India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar's sudden resignation, citing health reasons, has sent shockwaves through Delhi's political corridors.
The abrupt move, announced on the very first day of the monsoon session late in the night, caught both the ruling party and the opposition off guard, prompting immediate political huddles and strategy resets.
Prime Minister Modi's brief acknowledgement on social media in a measured statement stating that Dhankhar had served in various capacities stood out. The subdued tone of the message sparked inquisitiveness and unease in political circles, leading to murmurs about underlying tensions.
And only hours before stepping down on Monday, Dhankhar had interacted with several senior leaders, reportedly giving no indication of any kind of a health issue or imminent departure. His sudden exit has fueled questions about the timing and the motive, especially from opposition benches.
By engaging in plantations at a massive scale, I had indicated to the Honorable Minister Dharmendra Pradhanji.
This looks like one of those Soviet-style resignations when in those days when high-ranking officials were asked to go citing medical reasons.
Opacity इनका हॉलमार्क हो गया है, गैर पारदर्शिता। कोई निर्णय क्यों होता है, क्यों कोई व्यक्ति बीच अपने कार्यकाल में इस्तीफा दे देते हैं, ये पूरी सरकार पर प्रश्न है।
ये विपक्ष है, इनका काम है बोलना। किसी भी बात को, किसी के स्वास्थ्य का भी मजाक उड़ा सकते हैं, उस पर भी राजनीति कर सकते हैं।
देखिए, माननीय उपराष्ट्रपति जी का इस्तीफा एक तरीके से हम सभी के लिए, चाहे हमारी सरकार हो या विपक्ष के साथी हो, सभी के लिए शॉकिंग है, सरप्राइजिंग है। किसी को भी जानकारी नहीं थी, अचानक ही सबको ऐसी जानकारी मिली, क्योंकि कल संसद के पहले दिन भी राज्यसभा का पूरा संचालन उन्होंने कार्रवाई का किया। तो ऐसे में अप्रत्याशित है लेकिन साथ में उन्होंने जो कारण दिया है वो सही भी प्रतीत होता है, क्योंकि पिछले कई बार ऐसी घटनाएं हुई जब हमने देखा कि उनके स्वास्थ्य की समस्या हुई, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि स्वास्थ्य के चलते ही उन्होंने ये कदम उठाया है। और
खारगे जी ने कहा वो सही है कि ऐसी चीजें
and Kiran Rijiju from a crucial business advisory committee meeting. Both the senior ministers have since clarified that both had informed Dhankhar about being preoccupied with other parliamentary duties. The meeting, earlier scheduled for Monday, has now been postponed to Wednesday.
Some political pundits are also pointing at the hurried manner in which he accepted the notice of impeachment of Justice Verma prepared by the opposition. And this came as a surprise to the ruling NDA, as the government was planning to bring in a notice shortly in the Lok Sabha.
Ravi Shankar Prasad had submitted a letter to the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla with bipartisan backing, with 152 members, including Leader of the Opposition Rahul Gandhi, signing the notice.
Now, while Dhankhar cited health concerns, the opposition insists the reasons run far deeper. Dhankhar is 74 years old, assumed office in August 2022 and had over 2 years left in his tenure.
His time as Rajya Sabha chairman was marked by repeated clashes with the opposition, including a motion for his removal, a rare and combative chapter in parliamentary history. The constitution remains silent on the appointment of an acting vice president. In such cases, the responsibilities of the Rajya Sabha chair automatically fall to the deputy chairman until a new vice president is elected. And that brings Harivansh Narayan Singh to the fore, who will preside over the upper house.
What stood out most was the absence of a farewell address or a ceremonial send-off. Dhankhar's resignation letter simply stated that his departure was effective immediately.
With President Draupadi Murmu formally accepting his resignation, the Election Commission will soon notify the election process for a new vice president. The Electoral College comprises of members of both houses of parliament.
Now, the decision on a successor will be a politically calculated one, especially with the BJP-led NDA holding a parliamentary majority. It comes at a time when the government is navigating delicate alliance equations and gearing up for crucial state polls. Now, for decades, Japan has been the epitome of calmness and composure.
And this is, of course, with its culture deeply revering mindfulness and emotional restraint. Its politics has mirrored this tradition, but things are changing, and they're changing fast. The just concluded upper house elections threw a political quake.
Now, the far-right Sansito party, created only 5 years ago, witnessed a phenomenal surge as it increased its tally in Japan's upper house from 2 to 15 seats, Sansito's political philosophy of Japanese first comes straight from the copybook of right-wing movements such as US President Donald Trump's Make America Great Again, AFD in Germany, Nigel Farage's Reform Party in Britain as well. Now, the far-right party, which was founded on YouTube, advocates for stricter rules and limits on immigration and foreign capital, opposes globalism and radical gender policies, and a rethink on decarbonization, on vaccines and pesticide-free agriculture.
While recent surveys have put immigration far down the list of voters' concerns, Sansito blames the influx of newcomers into Japan for a host of ills, from crime to rising property prices to dangerous driving.
We do not intend to discriminate against foreigners, nor do we have any desire to incite division. We will first firmly rebuild the lives of Japanese people who are currently in need.
The rise of Sansito and its success prompted Ishiba's government to announce new immigration policies, and other parties also made promises during the election campaign. Ishiba's LDP proclaimed the goal of achieving zero illegal foreign nationals and said that the government will strengthen the management systems for immigration and residency status.
The number of people who don't obey rules are increasing. People don't voice it, but I think they feel that. Also, the burden on citizens, including tax, is getting bigger and bigger, so life is getting more difficult. I think everyone feels it, even if they don't say it. As I mentioned earlier, I think the biggest factor is that they are speaking in behalf of us.
Now, not everyone is convinced that San Siro can sustain the surge in its popularity. Many believe the party is feeding on temporary discontent, and Japanese voters are more worried about inflation and the economy. Donald Trump has announced a new trade deal with Japan. The deal includes a 15% tariff on Japanese auto imports.
This is down from the current 25%. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said that Japan will invest $550 billion in the United States as part of the agreement. The deal also promises greater market access for American products, including cars, trucks, rice and agricultural goods. While the US has not confirmed all the terms, Japanese broadcaster NHK cited a government source confirming the reduced auto tariff. However, Trump's post made no mention of tariff relief on Japanese vehicles, which account for over 25% of Japan's exports to the US.
He hailed the deal with Japan as the largest trade deal in history. Listen to this. In Tokyo, Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba declined to comment on the deal specifics, citing a lack of official details. Ishiba is under domestic pressure after losing control of the upper house in the recent elections in Japan.
This deal is part of a broader pre-deadline push by Trump's trade team to lock in multiple trade pacts before the 1st of August. A date tied to new higher tariff threats, Trump has announced framework deals with Britain, Indonesia, Vietnam and paused a tariff dispute with China.
Trump has also unveiled a 19% tariff on Philippine goods after a meeting with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., while US exports to the Philippines will face zero tariffs.
Meanwhile, Trump added that the US and Japan will partner on an LNG pipeline project in Alaska and hinted at upcoming trade talks with the European Union starting Wednesday. However, many agreements remain vague with limited formal documentation from either side.
Legacy and highly respected in this country. I know that because I have many friends in the Philippines. The last administration was not
Well, for many,